Welcome to the GSMC Pets Podcast, the show that caters to pet lovers of all kinds. We'll talk about pets on social media, pets doing amazing things, and how to take care of the pets in your life. Whether your pet is a dog, a cat, a llama, hamster, reptile, or something more exotic, you'll find educational and entertaining information on the GSMC Pets Podcast.
Thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Pets Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Samantha Melvin, and I'm really hoping that you guys will enjoy today's episode because, well, we're going to be talking about something that I really love and that is also very relevant to my household right now. And that is pet birthdays. So, why do I want to talk about this today? Why is it so relevant? Well, I have not one, but two pets that have a designated birthday for April 1st. And that would be baby Regina and Grandma Cookie. Now, what do I mean when I say designated? Well, we only know that Regina was born around April, and, well, for Cookie, we know the exact date for her, but we're just going to lump them together just because we're good pet parents and stuff, I guess. So, the major question I have today is, what exactly do pet birthdays entail? And we'll definitely cover that, especially for those of you that are also trying to figure out, well, I want to do a celebration for my pets and have them, enjoy themselves. But, I'll also cover some appropriate cakes and food that your pet can have on this special day. Also, what are some great gifts for them? What are some places you can take them to for their birthday? And how you can have a safe and fun birthday party. Well, then, we're going to close with something that I really was hoping to talk about soon, and that was sewer gators. Yes, sewer gators. What exactly does a pet party entail? Well, I guess that kind of depends. It depends on your pet's temperament, their personality, their age. There's a lot of stuff going on there. There's a lot of things to juggle. So, for instance, for Cookie, she would probably not have the ideal time if she were to be in this big party with all these other dogs and just things that she didn't really know very well because, well, she's a very anxious dog and she gets upset sometimes. So it's better to just kind of take a step back. Her temperament is not perfect for a group of dogs that she doesn't know. Her personality, well, she's kind of a diva. She wants the attention for herself. And then, age, she's going to be 14 years old this year. So that means pretty much she's not going to need that extra excitement because she also has a heart murmur. We don't want to get her too stressed out. And that's something that'll happen with, a birthday party sometimes. Your pets will get stressed out. And, that's something to definitely consider. Now, you consider Eisen over here. And Eisen is, sitting next to me as I'm recording, actually. But for Eisen, he is a very nervous cat. Well, not really nervous, but he doesn't really like to be around people. And he turned 13 this year. And probably the perfect thing that we could have done, well, we actually did. We know he loves tuna. And tuna is not bad for your cats. It's, it's totally natural for them to eat tuna or any kind of fish. But for him, we got a nice little plate of tuna for him. And we basically just started singing happy birthday to him. And then the plate of tuna was right over his head, and he was getting very frustrated because he wanted it. So he started trying to climb up our legs and stuff. It's very cute watching him act like a little kitten sometimes when it comes to that. But I mean, the worst idea that you could ever have is planning like a big old cat party with cats that are very territorial and very set in their ways. I guess that's a nice way of putting it. But cat parties are probably not the best idea unless those cats know each other, or the cat's personality and temperament allow for a party like that. Now, Addison's birthday party this year, as I mentioned, was extremely casual. February 2nd, Groundhog's Day. I mean, it's cold outside, and, it's just ugly winter. So just being able to give him that, because he hasn't been able to, go out and, see the world and smell the world lately. That is something that he really appreciated, and we can tell that. But, there are some people that don't have enough of that, and this kind of borders around the dangers of people planning the pet party for their pets, but in reality, it's a party for the humans. So you can actually check out on the online scene, just go for a general search, and one of the first things that I find is thedogbakery.com. And yes, they do have some really good themes for their pets, but the first one that they pull up, and this is, I don't know what they're thinking, an art party. And they have a picture of this little chihuahua wearing, that's dressed up as Frida Kahlo. And just, I don't think that pets really would enjoy being dressed up, and there's really nothing else that you can really talk about. This theme only talks about, dressing up. And it seems to me maybe the guests are dressing up, the guests' dogs are dressing up, and it's oh my gosh, it's so cute, happy birthday. And there's really not much. Clothes are very constraining for pets. Some of them are fine with nice little sweater or something like that, or a shirt. But the pictures that I see on this site for the pets, it looks uncomfortable. It's all baggy and limiting. I just don't see how that would be a good idea for your pets. But there are also things on the site that really do show that it's considering your pets. One in particular is the doggy edition of the American Ninja Warrior, where you have all these obstacle courses and prizes for any achievements that might, happen. And it's just a nice way for your pets to expel all of their energy so you don't have to worry about going home and your pet is still very, very wound up. This is a perfect way to tire out your pets for that day. And, I think that is a really good theme in case you wanted to really draw in your pets and really make it pet-centric rather than human-centric. And again, that's the real danger here. There's also a pet pampering party where you can massage and groom your dog as a group thing, and it seems pretty cute. For Cookie, it would not be ideal because I've told you about the experience with her grooming. It's pretty bad. But for other dogs, that probably is a wonderful thing for them to do. And just, let's see, what else? And of course, the theme also falls onto what kind of food are you going to be giving your pets? Well, it all depends. It all depends on what your dog likes, what you have available, if you can go out and shop, that kind of stuff. And maybe you could wind down with a movie called Shaggy the Dog, or the Shaggy Dog. And that is a movie with Tim Allen in it. And I remember when this movie first came out. I never watched it, but it seemed kind of like a very weird movie. I might get around to it. It's a Walt Disney. I can probably go into Disney Plus and find it. But, all these things is how to make your dog happy. And I'll go ahead and say your dog probably doesn't, definitely doesn't know, the special the specialness of this day that you're doing the celebration. They just know, oh my gosh, it's a day where I can have all of my pet buddies, or oh, this is a day where I get a treat of my tuna, and oh man, this is going to be really exciting. And they don't even realize that kind of stuff. So, at its heart, pet parties are kind of human-centric. But if you are able to make it more focused on, what your pet is doing rather than what you are doing, I think that'll be absolutely perfect for them. Now, I have no idea what I'm going to be doing for Cookie and Regina. They're such different animals. Regina is like a powerful little puppy that has so much energy, unlimited energy, it feels like. And then you have Cookie here that just prefers to sleep on your lap all day long, or go into her little corner with her blanket and just sleep there. So it's a very difficult thing to kind of to consider when you look at their birthday falling on the same day for us. Like, how do you manage that? Probably Regina's going to have multiple walks, and Cookie will probably have a lot of treats that'll most definitely spoil her dinner. But, at least we're keeping their personality and temperaments in mind. And, well, I guess we're kind of stuck doing this kind of stuff, too, because we can't really, social distancing and stuff. And we have no idea how long that's going to be lasting for. But, hey, I mean, if we can make it work, we will definitely make it work. And I would absolutely love to see pictures of your pets at, like, very pet-centric birthday parties. And the really cool thing is that we're going to be talking about, places that you can take your pets. But again, this is going to be for like the future when our lockdowns are done, pretty much. But yeah, we'll definitely talk about that. But for the next segment, we are going to be talking about, the foods and the cakes that you can get for your pet for their birthday. Now, we'll be right back after these messages.
Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? The GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast is a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts America Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today. Download the GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
And we are back, and we were just talking about what exactly a pet party entails. So, we've already gone through that. All that kind of personality, temperament kind of deal where you need to really consider your pet a little bit more. But, let's move on to the fun stuff. What about, the treats and the food and all that kind of stuff? The not for you, human, but for your pets. Dog treats, cat treats, little cakes, all that kind of stuff. And I can guarantee you that somewhere, if you live near a bigger city, or, kind of like a hip center, there may be a chance that you have a dog bakery somewhere. And, we have multiple ones where we live. And there are so many choices to grab different kinds of birthday cakes for our dogs. But, because of the time now, we're pretty restricted on where we can go. So I guess, go get your dog birthday cakes at your own risk, maybe? But anyway, I would say that, these bakeries will have all that you need, pretty much. And they have them shaped in, adorable little, like doggy bones or they actually look like real cakes, cupcakes, all that kind of stuff. And, all of them are doggy friendly. And it's so much easier for cats, I feel like, because, well, they can just have their tuna and be happy. And you can also get them like little bonito flakes so that they can, also have a little bit of a fishy taste with their regular food schedule. But for me, especially now that our resources are limited and I can't really go out, I am resorting to probably making the birthday cake for Reggie and Cookie. Because, I actually have made treats for pets before. Mostly just Eisen because, well, he has been mainly my pet for many years. And, like, I've made treats for him, and I made sure that I followed a recipe. I will admit that I was younger, so I wasn't very particularly careful about what kind of treats I was making for him and what I was making it out of. But, there are tons of websites out here that can give you, like, different tips on what you can do. My major thing, and I always, try to remember this, there's not going to be any garlic, no onions, no mushrooms, no grapes, especially for your dogs, or raisins, anything like that, stay away from, because those are, very toxic to dogs. And I believe cats too. But, there are some websites that I actually did some digging for. And, let me pull up this list again, because it was pretty fun. So you can actually go to rover.com/blog/dog birthday cake recipes, and it will give you a nice list of different treats that you can give your dogs. And they also provide some recipes too, so you can follow them. But check out this layout, actually. This is very, very, I don't know, it just pushes this jealousy of like, hey, I want that too. That sounds really good. So, you can make cheesecake bites. You can make red velvet cupcakes, Kebab mini cupcakes with peanut butter frosting, peanut butter paw print cupcakes, and gosh, that seems, like things that I would want. Minus it being called, little cupcakes and paw print stuff. But, you put a different name to it, it's like, oh man, give me that. I'm gonna eat some of that, but don't do it. Just don't. Leave it for your pets. And you would be surprised at how awful some of these things taste to humans. But let's see. And of course I mentioned tuna for the Kit Kat. You want to be very careful about how much you're giving your pets, because, that could either upset their stomachs or, it could, like, cause, an excess weight gain and stuff. So you don't want to do anything that'll, cause them bowel terror, I'll call it that. And also another thing that this website says is, well, and I'm going to quote this, you can make a cake-shaped tower of their favorite dog treats glued together with dog-friendly icing, or you can make a tempting pile of their favorite toys. So, again, all these very cool things that they can, that you can improvise, especially during this time when you can't really leave your house. And, the cake-shaped plush dog toy that you can get for them, you can actually do that. That's 0-calorie fun, and I guarantee you that that your dogs will enjoy it. And, well, I can't guarantee it, but dogs really do like toys. And I would say that for cats in particular, just let them be. Give them the food, give them the treats that they want, let them relax, but, now I'm really curious. I kind of want to see this, what is it, this red velvet cupcakes thing. I want to see what the recipe is like. So let me scroll down and find this. I'm really curious about it now. Let's see. It says that these tasty little cakes get their beautiful color from shredded beets. Apparently beets are good for your pets now. They're perfect for birthdays, Valentine's, or any time really. And you can top with simple cream cheese or yogurt frosting. Or you can pair it with a scoop of your doggy ice cream. So, I didn't know there was doggy ice cream. That's something you can also throw into, your table spread for their birthdays, right? And let's see. I gotta see this recipe here, because beets are very interesting. Now, let's see. So it takes about 15 minutes to prep, cook for 20 minutes, and basically it'll yield, 48 mini cupcakes. So that basically means that you could have a really big dog party, and it would be awesome. Now let's see, for the cupcakes you have the beets, you have strawberries, you have applesauce, non-fat yogurt, eggs, oat flour, carob powder. What exactly is carob powder? I have to figure this out. And let's see, baking powder for the actual cupcakes. And then for the frosting, you can make the, you'll need non-fat yogurt, cornstarch, a non-fat cream cheese, more strawberries and blueberries for color and flavor if you like, and then also vanilla extract. And just kind of looking at all these pictures of, what it's supposed to look like, I can guarantee you that somebody is going to accidentally eat one of these. And honestly, looking at the recipe here, it doesn't seem like a really bad thing, really. So, we can say that it's very good for your dogs, and also possibly very good for your human pets, too. So, I might want to make that. I don't have the rest, the ingredients for it, but there's definitely something I can do. And, I could just go do a quick trip to the Kroger or something like that. It'll be fine. But, they also have little videos on this too, so that if you're not really good at following and, just written instructions, you could also just watch a demonstration of it too. And, that's pretty cool. Now, I would have to say that most of the time I'm pretty okay with these weird little treats. However, most of the time I try to go for more special treats that aren't, not as calorie heavy or anything like that, or not too special. I'm a weird pet mom. I don't know. I don't want to spoil them, and already Regina's a pretty spoiled dog. So I usually go out and get little pig ears or pig snouts. One of my friends is planning on giving us a little deer antler so that she can chew on that. Cookie, another thing about Cookie, her teeth are not doing too well, and we can't really have her get dental work done because, she would have to be asleep, and who knows if she would wake up after that. So we are basically being very careful about what kind of chews that she gets. So in this case, if she's not really into any of these baked goods, then we could probably give her some wet food, and it'll be fine. Actually, she really loves, this is something you give to your sick pets, but, a bowl of rice mixed with, chicken broth, she loves it. She will eat it all the time. And when she did get sick one time, we gave it to her, a few times, and she didn't want to go back to her regular food after that for a while, so that was frustrating. But, a lot of these things, think about what kinds of stuff that your pets like. A watermelon is a wonderful thing. Just give them a piece of watermelon and they'll be happy. So, anyway, there's so much more to say about this, and I want to just continue going through recipes after recipe just to find the perfect thing for Regina and Cookie. But who knows, I might try to take a chance and contact the dog bakery for them. But we are going to take another break, and it's going to be our third segment where we're going to talk about pet gifts. So that'll be pretty awesome. And, what do you give your pets on their birthdays? Do you give them anything? Or do you spoil them throughout the year? Well, we'll talk about that after this commercial break.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back. We just talked about pet food for the party, what you need to do for the party, or what you need to at least consider. Now, let's get to the fun stuff. Pet gifts. Yeah, I said it, pet gifts. So, what exactly are you going to get your pets? Now, this could be a really interesting thing, or it could just be like a, an everyday thing. Because some people, maybe like myself, whenever I have the opportunity, I get them a toy. No, but yeah, I have problems. I see something that I think Regina will like, and I'll be like, I'll take this and put it in my cart. Or, Cookie just likes, eating her snacks, so she'll sometimes steal Reggie's toys and, play with it herself, but, she's very low maintenance. It's almost kind of concerning how low maintenance she is. But for the people that do actually reserve this day, their birthday as a day for giving them treats and gifts, well, fantastic. I actually have a list for you guys to listen to for 25 gift ideas for your pets. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say, some of these things, you could find it for cheaper elsewhere, but these are just some general ideas. I'm not going to tell you pricing or where to get it based on this list, but there are plenty of options for you. Now, for instance, let's see, they have a ton of stuff for Christmas in particular, but, birthdays are like Christmas, right? Kind of. But, so you can get like a Thermo Snuggly Sleeper heated bed pet bed. So, if you are like Cookie, if your pet is like Cookie, then, you'll notice that they're always quite cold. So, for us, we put sweaters on Cookie, we wrap her up in blankets, all that kind of stuff. But, sometimes you just, maybe all the sweaters are in the wash, or maybe you don't have, well, you can't say you don't have the time, but maybe you just don't realize that you need to wrap a blanket around your little guy. Well, the Thermo Snuggly Sleeper might actually be a good solution for you. But, you can get it at Amazon.com. I'm not going to say the price. I'm pretty sure you can find better prices elsewhere, but just, just an option for you. Now, the next thing is like a Lily Dog PJ shirt. And this is a brand, so it's going to be costing a lot of money. And, well, you could also find plenty of dog shirts, dog clothes at a pet store, and it'll probably be for much cheaper. I won't even bother, looking at this, this website where they are selling this from, because I just know, based on the price point, I'm not going to be able to afford it. But, in case you're still in the mood for the holidays in general, it's already April pretty much. But, still, what if you wanted to give your cat something special? For instance, a holiday gingerbread cat house scratcher. And, this is pretty cute. It's one of the items that you can get from Chewy.com. So, nice and affordable for you. It kind of doubles as holiday decor. which at this time of year does not really, does not really matter, but that is something to consider. You can also get a smart dog collar. What in the world is a smart dog collar? So here's the description here. Oh, and it's listed as Oprah's favorite things. So you know that it must be good, right? But so this is something that will help keep your favorite pooch healthy and happy with its techie collar that comes complete with a GPS tracker and an activity monitor. Wow. I mean, that's super useful if you're really into that kind of stuff. I mean, I can't even wear my Fitbit like on a regular basis, so I mean, at least, your dog has no choice but to wear it. Now, yeah. Now, for cats, and I absolutely love this, and this is from Etsy, so you're going to be helping like a local artist. Local as in like your online local, but not like those big department store kind of places. But it's a sushi cat toy. So, sushi, fish, playing with that idea, tuna with cats. It'll keep them very entertained, and I kind of want to get some for Ison now, because it looks like it's under $10. Well, then you have to consider shipping and stuff. Now, this is if you just want to spoil that dog rotten. An Isabella Blush pet bed. And, oh my gosh, it is a little bed that looks like it's fit for a princess, basically. And I will say that it's over $1,000, over $1,100, over $1,200, and I'll stop there. So you can decide if you really want to spoil that dog rotten, but you'll probably be making payments on it for a little bit. Something that is also quite popular for pet birthdays and just in general. We're following the trend of people taking DNA tests, and you can actually do this for your dog. We're planning on doing this for Regina pretty soon, because we say that she's a pit Boston Terrier mix, and we're almost positive about this. But, there could always be something else in there, too. Why not? And in the meantime, why don't you do one for yourself? Don't get this particular brand, because it's only for dogs. But get one for yourself and see, what's interesting about that. But, again, this is all about your pets, not about you. And, it's, I'm going to go ahead and say the price. It's $189, and it's called Embark. It's something that my husband and I will be definitely looking at in the future. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say this is a big no for us. We've already tried this before. But if your cat is a brave one, there is an automatic cat litter box, which will be self-scooping and will be kind of a time saver, I guess. But here's the thing. You have to make sure that your cat is brave. Make sure that it doesn't go start scooping when your cat is in the box. Then you have to make sure that you are very regular about cleaning out the litter and the stuff that they scoop out, because that can get quite disgusting quite fast. And I mean, it's just so bulky looking. But I guess it's prettier looking than most litter boxes, but I mean, now you can even get like the little cabinet set. You can just put the litter box in, and there's a little opening where your cat can come in, but that might be another gift you can consider. But just for my own experience, the automatic litter boxes are, they're kind of difficult. Not to operate, but just to maintain. Now, you can also do like hide and seek plush toys for your doggos, which can also be cheap. Now, there are also dental treats that you can get for them. And, this is another Chewy.com purchase that you can do. And, I would say that, $14 would be reasonable for this kind of thing. So, in addition to the dental treats, there's also a slow feeder dog mat for food and treats. So basically, make your pet slow down in their eating. We had a problem with this with Regina, actually, and she was just always mowing down on all of her food for a very long period of time. She was just so excited to eat her food. And goes the same thing for Eisen as well. If your pet eats too fast, then it'll probably come up one way, and it will not be pretty. But just this kind of thing will help slow down this eating habit. And I mean, there are also little dog bowls too that you can use. But in addition to that, there are interactive cat toys. Let's see, a shower wand attachment, which if you have like a shower head attachment already, I don't really see the point in this, but hey, if you don't, this might be a good thing to invest in, because honestly, bathing Regina and Cookie is a lot easier with that shower head. And you do not want to spend $32 on a dog bowl. Sorry, no. I'm going to say I veto this for you. Now, you can also do like a heated cat bed too, in case, your little man like Mr. Eisen just likes to be nice and warm and cuddly. But, again, always think about the pricing here. And let's see, a dog jacket for $118? No way! Okay, no way! There's also a pagoda pet bed. And I would not pay that much money for it. But there's also a corduroy bow tie that you can get. Little turkey and cranberry crunchy cat treats. Let's see, airline approved pet carriers, which, if you travel a lot, that'd be awesome. More dog sofas, a quilted blanket, all that kind of stuff. And all of these things, are actually pretty fantastic for you if you're willing to, fork over the money for that. And for some of you, sure. But again, I'm going to insist, do not spend $32 on a dog bowl unless it's like completely indestructible. Then don't spend that much money on a dog bowl. I'm sorry, I'm telling you, I'm commanding that you don't do that, but it just does not seem reasonable to me. But anyway, that list. I mean, there are other really good lists for pet birthday gifts. Honestly, sometimes the best gift is like getting, a toy that reminds them of one of your first toys that you gave them when they were puppies. And, that's what I usually do for Regina. But anyway, this is a very long section, and I'm so sorry. I just got really into the pet gifts. But, another thing that you can do for your pets is, go take them to the dog store or pet store and have them pick the toys and treats themselves. And, I mean, of course, you can always make your own toys for them as gifts. And, I mean, that's kind of like the birthday stuff going on over there. Now, what about, let's imagine that you don't have to be staying in your house for an extended period of time. What if you can actually take your pets somewhere? Take them somewhere for their birthday. Like how you take a little kid to the skating rink or something like that. I don't know what kids do these days. But, we'll talk about where you can take your pets after this commercial break.
Is weird, odd, strange, or just plain bizarre is really your cup of tea? Then the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast will give you that fix. Can't believe it? Well, listen for yourself as we deliver the strangest news you definitely won't find on CNN or Fox. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast.
So, we have talked about what exactly a pet party is like, what they should be eating, what you can let them eat, and, what kind of gifts that you can give. Like, oh man, my favorite thing in the world is watching, an animal get really excited about a gift of theirs. But all of this is perfectly fine. My question for you is, where are you going to have this birthday party? Good question, right? Well, we could talk about maybe a birthday party at home, low budget, do your own decorations, and you have a little bit more freedom on what you can do inside the house. But it's really going to work for like a smaller group of dogs, maybe like 4 dogs tops. And also it really depends on how many of their humans are there too. So if the party is more about the humans, then it's, going to be a good way to go. But again, this is your dog's or your pet's birthday party. It should be about them, right? Anyway, so maybe we can migrate this little birthday outside to the backyard or to your nice friend's place or your relatives, or maybe you can just go ahead and rent a house with a yard, a large yard. That last thing I'm kind of in awe about, because that's one of the suggestions I've read about. But I don't know. Some people just really want to put that money in them. And that's fine. But, if you have your backyard that is nice, clean, open, then you're going to have as many dogs as you can that can fit in there. And in the meanwhile, maybe the humans are doing a barbecue, and sometimes they might sneak some meat at one of the dogs, especially the birthday dog. But all of this, it's controlled fun, and that's always the good thing. And it's easier to manage things when it's at your place. Now, it gets more complicated when you go to a dog park. For instance, I will be very ashamed to say that when we had Rhodey, and he was full grown, and he was a kind of a racing dog. We did not have a dog park to go to for him, and we could have driven him somewhere, but he just has the extreme anxiety of just sitting in a car. And just when we finally got Regina, I guess I walked Regina down to the dog park to see, what do I need to do? And it was completely empty. It was locked. And I'm like, okay, well, obviously I can't do this. And there's a lot of steps. You can't just go to a dog park without being a member of it. And I think that's something a lot of people don't realize, or at least, beginning dog owners or, okay dog owners are not aware of this. But you can't just walk into a dog park and say, hey, let me in. No, there's actually a lot of important things. So are your pets vaccinated? Do they have any illnesses? Are they healthy? All that kind of stuff that goes into, well, here, I want to go to this dog park. Can I come in? That's really about it. But if you want to go to a dog park, you are a member of it, it's a beautiful day, then you could possibly rent that out as for the party location. Now, if you cannot rent it out, then, well, if you can't rent it out or you were denied the ability to rent it out, you could always just have a very unstructured, open kind of party where you don't really have anything that is, so party-like, maybe like a photo booth or, a birthday cake setup. All those things are extra, things that you would do in your house or a more controlled situation. And a dog park where there are multiple other dogs that may not be in your party, well, that's just complete chaos, and you can't really do anything about that unless you know everyone there, and chances are you probably don't. Now, another thing that you can do, and this is totally related, you could go to a dog-friendly human park, and, you can go to different kinds. I'm trying to think if I've seen many non-dog friendly human parks, but maybe I'm just naive. A park is a park, guys. But if you want to do that, you still need to contact the city council to reserve a space. Because, well, again, you want to make sure that you are following all the protocols. They know how to get to you if something bad happens, all this kind of stuff. You need to make sure that you are putting your best foot forward to making sure that this is a legal and safe experience for your pets. Now, let's say that you just decided, well, let's go be more creative. Let's get these dogs really tired. So you can actually go to an agility course, and there are some places, some businesses that do have that, or you can even make it up in your own home. But it's basically like a kids party where they get to, go over to the skating rink. Like, that's what I did when I was a kid. We would go to the local skating rink and just skate around in circles for hours. But, it's the same idea as, a dog party having an agility course. They just go and go until, well, they can't go anymore. It's entertainment, right? And it's potentially managed by someone else. But if you do it at home, it's going to be managed by you. Now, these other things, it's kind of like this next thing, I guess, not the last thing. This next thing, I wasn't actually convinced that this existed, and it's a dog water park. I would love to see any and all pictures of dogs coming into a water park for them. I have not seen one in my entire life, and if you're lucky enough to live near one, then go right ahead, especially if it's summertime. That is absolutely perfect. Now, there's no decorating, there's no serious planning. You just bring the dogs and then you let them loose. Let them have fun in the water park, and then you can just sit back, relax, and just watch them entertain themselves. I mean, again, dog watching is an amazing thing. I mean, I do that with Regina and Cookie a lot of the times, and sometimes they're kind of boring, but it is fun to watch at certain points. Now, you could also, and this is something that I've always wanted to do, but going to a dog beach. Yeah. So, if you live near a body of water, like a beach or a lake or a river, you could potentially have another location where you can have built-in entertainment for your dogs. And I hate that I'm focusing on dogs, but a lot of these things, consider cats. They don't want to be near a body of water unless they have to. They don't want to be, jumping on each other or doing, all kinds of agility tricks. Well, unless your cat's super special like mine. But anyway, all of these things with the beach, they can just go out, have fun, splash around, and the humans can go and enjoy a beach day while the dogs do all kinds of stuff putting weird stuff in their mouth, digging holes, splashing in the water, swimming, chasing the waves, that kind of dog stuff. But, what if you just wanted to stay strictly inside? Because, beaches can be very messy. You hop back into your car and there's sand, all in your shoes, and you dump out all the sand and there's still sand in your shoes. Imagine, all that fur that your cat has and how much sand is, inside their fur now. It's going to be a while before it's all completely gone. So, if you don't want to deal with that, you could go to dog party centers, and those are pretty awesome, actually. And, doggy daycares and pet stores, they might have this for you to rent out, or even to kind of, use to showcase, some of their goods that they're trying to sell. So, kind of like a marketing, attempt by them. But a lot of it is just, toys, playing, all that kind of stuff. Again, it's fun managed by someone else, essentially. But the huge thing is that you just need to know what your pet's like. For instance, Eisen would never want to leave home, so he would be inside probably enjoying staring out the window, getting his tuna, maybe getting a really good nap in our bed, just know your pet. What makes them the happiest? And this little man over here is just enjoying his little yellow blanket right next to my studio, and he's just sleeping. Like, that is the day for him. Anyway, we've talked about locations. Now I have to be the fun sucker and be like, well, now we gotta talk about dog safety in these, in these parties and, pet safety altogether. But come on, it's me. You have to deal with it. 'Cause, well, as I said, helicopter bomb. Anyway, we're going to take another break, and we will chat in a bit.
The Golden State Media Concepts Travel Podcast, the show that gives you advice on everything travel. We explore places you've always wanted to go, as well as giving tips for traveling in those places. We'll give you advice on the best sites for travel tips, information, and discounts. Join us as we travel the world, explore cultures, and meet new people. The Golden State Media Concepts Travel Podcast has got you covered. Download the GSMC Travel Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Welcome back, and we have been talking about all kinds of pet stuff. Just recently, in this past segment, we talked about where you can go with your pets for their birthdays. And, we had a lot of, 8 places maybe that you could go to, and you could always get even more creative and find something else to do. But we are now going to talk about the most boring thing in the world. Yes, it's not boring, I promise. Dog party safety, because you need to be safe while you're having fun, right? So imagine that one of your pet's companions comes to you and their face is all swollen up and you're not really sure what happened, and you show them to your friend that's the human of that pet, and we all just start panicking. He's like, what's wrong with this dog's face? Well, you should probably take it to the vet or an emergency vet. But if you ignore it, then that's going to be a huge problem because we don't know what's going to happen to the doggo. So let's just kind of start from the very top. The scenario that I talked about is not ideal at all, but there's other safety things that you need to think about. So for instance, weather-related safety. You do not want your pets to go out in, let's say, a thunderstorm. I can imagine that a percentage of those dogs would be running inside, scared of the thunder. Also, you have to be just aware of, what is the weather going to be like today? Is this going to be ideal for a dog party? And this will require you to follow the weather channel a little bit more particularly because, weather changes so fast these days, right? But, just keep your app open, make your plans based on that, and have backup plans. Because if the weather sucks, then there has to be another thing you guys can do. Now, dog-to-dog interactions. This is another kind of thing that you have to think about with safety. And just kind of making sure that the dogs are getting along. There are going to be some dogs that are bullies. And they cause a little bit of anxiety among other dogs. So you have to find ways to help control the behavior and in the environment a little bit more. Because, if one dog is, suffering from serious anxiety because a bigger dog is bothering them, you got to do something. You can't just spray down the big dog and say, no, bad. Well, some people might do that, but there's a thing called separating, and then also cooling down, like that period of time where you pull that dog away and you're like, okay, no thank you. You need to sit here and wait. And you wait maybe like 30 seconds to a minute until the dog is visibly calm. And then you can, let them loose and have those interactions again. But you're always monitoring that because you don't want it to escalate to a dog fight, for instance, because, well, that's going to be not fun at all. And just before you guys do anything crazy, never get in between two fighting dogs. Never. So this is going to be a very difficult thing. You're going to have to find a way to separate those dogs as soon as you can. Or, this goes back to like dog-to-dog interactions. Be prepared. Just in case something like that is about to happen, be aware is the major thing, though. Now, one of these things is kind of tied into dog-to-dog interactions and dog fights, and that's leash rules. Now, I learned a long time ago that that dogs get very anxious when another dog is coming towards them, and both of them are leashed. Well, that's because that's not how they usually greet each other. Like, they need more movement, and, like, probably the first thing that a dog usually does is, like, they kind of curve around into an arc and they start sniffing the other one's butt. Yes, I said butt. But, it's something that they do. It's a way, it's less offensive in dog sensibilities, but it's less threatening. That's the word I'm looking for. It's less threatening for them to meet each other that way rather than going face to face. And potentially something that feels confrontational to them. And especially if your dog is very excitable, well, just seeing one dog lunging at another, that other dog is going to get nervous too. So it's not a very good situation. So if you're going to be having a party with all these dogs, probably give these dogs an opportunity to introduce themselves and, again, monitoring behavior. But I would say if they can get off the leash, let them off the leash. If it's legal or anything like that. But you're also going to be guarding your resources, which means like anything that you're using there, make sure that the dogs are not going to be damaging it, because they could actually damage themselves too. So I don't know, what if they're playing around with the agility equipment? Well, what if it falls on them? Well, you'll probably hear some crying, that is for sure. But, you also have a dog that might be injured. You might also have broken equipment that you're going to have to pay for. Because, well, dogs are rambunctious sometimes, okay? And it's unfortunate that, things can be broken, but, that's also you being aware. Always be aware when it comes to your dogs having a grand old time, because, humans get carried away. Definitely dogs will get carried away too. So, speaking of getting carried away, it could also be, humans get carried away with this, eating too much, or eating too much of things that they're not used to. So, all these treats that you have for your doggos and cats, whichever, like, those are not normal for them during their day-to-day life. It is going to be them, like, just watching, I don't know, let's say I watch my husband gorge himself in, like, an entire bag of chocolate candy. Oh my gosh, he's gonna get sick. Same thing goes for your pets. Well, I mean, especially if they eat a bag of chocolates. But if they start eating all these treats and, without any control whatsoever, their tummy is going to get upset. And you get to scoop what comes out of its orifices later on that day. Or very soon. Kind of depends. And that always gets into, like, the health issue kind of part, too. Where you don't know if... You need to make sure, actually, that these dogs that these pets that your pets are hanging out with are vaccinated and healthy, because things can really get, can be transferred pretty easily. And you also want to make sure that you're in a clean environment so that, there's more protection. Like, there isn't going to be anything cutting them up or anything like that. And then it leads into the trash and the cleanup of your party, essentially. Like, you want to make sure that anything that is harmful is picked up. You want to make sure that any trash or wrappings are taken up because, well, you don't want your dog eating that. You want to make sure that they have a clean environment to enjoy themselves every other day, after this party. But it's always hard to, it's very, not frustrating or hard, but sometimes it's just difficult for people to pay attention to, like, the safety issue because, well, it's a party, we're having fun. And then we take for granted the impulse control of dogs sometimes. Like, a very well-trained dog, well, most definitely will be able to have that control, but then there are other, dogs that are, on average control, and then others that are below average control. And, well, it just leads to complete chaos and someone potentially getting hurt. But all of this, you can kind of hop onto FidoSavvy.com and you'll be able to find, like, their dog party safety information. And that's what I mostly use. And I'm already starting to kind of plan next year's birthday party for the animals because, well, I can't do one right now. Man, the social distancing really sucks. But, let's move on from parties, because parties make me want to get to know people and get close to people. So why don't we talk next about sewer gators? Because I love me some sewer gator stories. All right, we're going to take a break, and then we will be right back.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now. Don't bother. What's hot on Netflix and everything in between. That's GSMCpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
So, we are back, and I get to talk about sewer gators, because, well, they're kind of awesome, don't you think? So, just some background information on me. I am a displaced Floridian living in the Midwest of the United States, and, well, I grew up hearing all about gators and how frightening they are. Well, they're not really that frightening, they're pretty chill. But you start hearing the whispers of the urban legend of the sewer gator, and you're not really sure if it's real or not because, well, come on, kids will believe in almost anything, especially when they're pretty young, unless they're my husband, and he's always the one that's always going on about, well, I don't really believe that. Can you give me proof? So that's what I live with. I adore him. But I love the idea of sewer gators, and I figured that for this part of the show, since we had been talking about birthday parties and stuff for your pets, I just wanted to change the pace here. So, I actually decided to go online, do a little bit of research. Well, not even do a little research, because I do know a lot about sewer gators. But I decided to go to just a website that had something about sewer gators. So this website is the Florida Water and Pollution Control Operators Association. So, I mean, pollution control, well, technically, sewer gators are pollution to our sewers. Maybe. That doesn't make sense. But, surely they're involved in sewers and Florida water. So I guess that works out. But essentially the major thing is that these gators are crawling around in our sewage, and they're just kind of living their lives down there. Now, essentially, you have in New York, like, this is the one thing that I really wanted to go over. It's like one of the starts to the legend, and it was in 1935. So this 8-foot alligator was dragged out of a sewer in East Harlem by a bunch of kids. And, well, they found him by, shoveling around a manhole that was covered in snow, and they dragged him up with a clothesline, which was, 8-foot long gator. You can imagine how much that weighs, and that must have been a very strong clothesline. So the kids ended up beating this alligator to death because it started snapping at them. I wonder why it started snapping at them. But the locals actually speculated that the gator had fallen from a boat that was carrying it through Harlem River, and it just ended up in the sewers somehow because it just decided to swim on down there. And there was also this other idea, because for a time period it was kind of like the cool thing for parents to bring home gators for their kids after their cool vacations in Florida or just in the South in general. And these kids would have this pet gator. And I don't know if you've seen gators, like baby gators before, but they're pretty small and they're pretty cute. But they get big. I mean, 8 foot, kind of big. More so than that, actually. There have been like 12-footers before, and I guarantee you, kids cannot control a 12-foot gator. Not even like a 4-foot gator. So, based on this legend, these gators would get too big for the kids, and the kids would just put them into the sewers. I don't know how they did it. Some may have flushed the smaller versions of it down the toilet. Then others, they just kind of released it somewhere, and, well, lo and behold, gator sewers. So, whether or not these gators survived at the time, nobody really knows because nobody really kept count of it. But there have been a lot of stories about this, and this article references this book called The World Beneath the City. The World Beneath the City, yeah. And it was in 1959, written by Robert Daly. And he was talking about mostly underground utilities, but the superintendent of the sewer was basically talking about how he had seen alligators with his own eyes down there, and how he had tried to completely remove these gators from his place. Because, well, gators are pretty dangerous if you treat them inappropriately. I've seen, again, I'm referencing Fatal Attractions. If you have not seen it, and you are over the age of 13, yeah, check it out. I absolutely loved it when I was originally watching it. And, well, so this guy, the superintendent, claimed that these gators were just kind of there, and they managed to just get rid of them. This article doesn't even specify how they got rid of it. But basically this guy was thinking, well, these guys that are working for me, they're obviously drinking on the job. Surely there's no gator or gators outside, in our sewers. And then he decides to go down and prove that they're wrong, and then oh my god, there is a gator down there. And I'm going to quote this because it's pretty hilarious. Had I been a drinking man, I would have poured myself a stiff one. So, somehow he was convinced, though he was known as a very colorful storyteller, apparently. It is still so hard to believe, I guess, that Daly's book was supposed to be fact, but the story that the superintendent had told, like, really just threw it on its head and, you know, really showed an active imagination, and it really focused and permanently put this urban legend of the New York City, sewer gator, like, in our culture, pretty much. That's pretty cool, I think. And I know, let's just talk about one little thing, though. I know it's about gators and stuff, but gators and crocodiles are very different things. You can tell by their snout, and also the aggressiveness, and also location. So definitely on the south, you'll have alligators. It is a very rare thing to see a crocodile, and it's probably because somebody just let it loose there. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. Gators are actually pretty chill unless you bother them, as I said. And I would say that they just kind of like chilling in the water. They might be, they seem dangerous, but, they're animals. They're wild animals. And what have I said about wild animals? Leave them alone. Let them enjoy their environment. Let them be comfortable in their own environment. So, I don't know, if you want to learn more about sewer gators, you're more than welcome to. I would say for sure that if you want to have fun with it, you can go to Snopes.com. And Snopes, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but it's basically like a fact checker, and it gives like the myth or the legend, and then it gives like actual proof from different sources about why it is true or why it is false. So I would definitely recommend. I was kind of scrolling through the Snopes page for the sewer gator, and I just wanted to go into this, but it was so long, and I was like, I don't want to bore you guys with, all these little facts and stuff. I just wanted to, just rant and rave about a sewer gator. But anyway, I would say that sewer gator is, while it's not real, it is basically a wonderful creation of the imagination. And hey, maybe I'll go over another legendary animal for the next episode. You never know, it'll be very exciting. But, it is about time for me to go. And I've already made you this promise that I'm going to talk more about urban legends and pets and animals and stuff. So there's that. But I think I've chatted your ear off enough, and I think you have all the tools, or at least all the knowledge, to create a fantastic birthday party for your pet. Maybe it'll be for next year. Who knows? Maybe it'll be later this year. We'll see what happens. But with that, I will go ahead and say that, well, thank you again for listening to the GSMC Pets Podcast. And that was brought to you today by the GSMC Podcast Network. I would love it if you guys subscribed and wrote us a nice review. I always love, getting feedback. And just, it's something that really helps us, honestly. And also, please, oh please, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That'd be amazing. So, have a wonderful night, and thank you so much.
You've been listening to the GSMC Pets Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all of the shows from the GSMC Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, from business news to weird news. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's podcast.